Welcome to the Robert Hunt Financial Market Update. It's your host, Robert Hunt. Well, look at the week's financial news. It can be a bit confusing, misleading, and take you, of course, help to make it actionable and understandable and clear. What a week! Therefore, what a show. Woo! We're going to dip into the experiential learning zone. This week, I'm going to outline strategies for you or someone you care about. How can you leave your existing financial advisor, brokerage, or big bank? How do you do it? What are the steps? We're going to look at the importance of staying invested over the long term. Friend of the show sent some data in. We'll also look at our favorite, Peter Mallouk, one of our favorites. He has some fascinating data regarding corrections as well as the performance of active versus index funds. And then we end with securities recommendations from banks. It made the news that a particular analyst at JP Morgan recommended a sell on a stock. We're going to look back at how often does that happen and how meaningful is that to us. But at the top, how do you leave your existing high-priced, high-complexity, short time frame investment advisor, insurance company, bank? I've done this long enough to see there is a pattern for those who are able to successfully exit Egypt and enter Canaan. How do they do it? So let's define the environment first. If you find yourself in a poor financial advisor relationship, a few things are probably happening. One is you are paying too much for the service, either through the product fees being the expense ratio of a particular mutual fund, or an assets under management fee that's high, maybe 1% of your assets. Maybe you're paying commissions, probably not as much anymore, but sometimes. And in many cases, people have been here for decades and decades, and they're starting to think that maybe this isn't the best for them. One of the highest costs in these environments, and this is something I try to communicate, it's not just those fees, it's actually opportunity cost. Now, what in the world am I saying opportunity cost for? Opportunity cost meaning what you could have returned had you stuck to a simple financial product mix and achieved 8, 9, 10% returns instead of a complex product market list, active funds, and all the complexity of the smorgasbord of deals out there. Maybe you get 2, 3, 4%. Over a 30-year period, it's massive. That's the largest expense. So first, what's the first step? You've got to read 1 or 2 books. 1 or 2 books. Now, have I seen people do it without reading 1 or 2 books? I have. Occasionally, folks can get lucky and just decide to, hey, I was putting blind trust in advisor A, I'm going to put blind trust in advisor B, and it works out. Advisor B happens to be a low-cost, simple advisor. But you have to read the books. J.L. Collins' Simple Path to Wealth, Jack Bogle's The Little Book of Common Sense Investing. I recommend these books. When people read them quickly, I usually know this is a good sign. Sometimes I'll give these books out. People will come back 2 weeks later, read them both, ready to go. And they are. They're ready to go. It's not enough to simply say, oh, gee whiz, go simple, no cost, it's better for you. Even if I give a pithy stat here or there, Bogle beats you up over, in the Little Book of Common Sense Investing over, I forget how many pages, 100 and something pages. At the end of it, the data is so compelling, you can't stop yourself. J.L. Collins has more of a narrative, a story form. It eventually, you're in a corner. You cannot refute the data. So reading the books, that's one thing you got to do to exit stage right from Egypt, from the high price environment. Number 2 is humility. You didn't see that coming, did you? Humility in the form of a willingness to walk away from your past practices. This holds up people almost more than anything. Great. They see the data. They see the Spiva report. They see how few active funds beat index funds. They actually read the books. Can you believe that? They might read the books and say, yeah, Bogle's right. This thing, can they walk away from 20 years of behavior? It's very tough to do. You have to be willing to, boom, okay, I see the data. I see that I need to make a change, and I make a change. If you don't, if you feel like that's somehow an indictment on past you or on present you for decisions you've made, going to be very tough to move. Very tough to move. Because it is going to, the cognitive dissonance, it will be so powerful that you'd rather take the beatings, but be able to and keep your ego in check. It's no good. Okay, so you got to have some humility. Walk away. You have to understand price. Price is primarily information. When people talk about, oil prices are up, and they are right now. Oh, these oil prices are up. This is so beneficial for, these oil producers. So terrible for these consumers. What is price? Primarily, it's information. You're receiving information. Whenever governments go in, they try to manage price and change. All it does is limit information. It means consumers aren't equipped, producers aren't equipped to find that equilibrium. All my economics listeners understand this. Well, what happens when you get, let's say, statements from your financial advisor or company, and they don't have price on it? Because guess what? They never do. They never do. This infuriates me. AI to the rescue. So when people join the practice and they're at a different financial advisor, sometimes they will hand me or send me just voluminous statements from their incumbent financial advisor. Oh, if you've looked at these statements, nothing's easy. They obfuscate everything. So just so you know, in past epochs, you had to go on the Google search machine, and look up every single fund and its expense ratio, meaning expense ratio is how you price and understand whether a fund is expensive or cheap. So the lower the number, the better on expense ratio. If you don't understand price, if you're in an existing financial advisor relationship, you don't understand price, it'll be difficult to be motivated to leave Egypt because it's a hard journey. You got to cross the Red Sea, a little bit of faith leap. You got to walk. There's some brain damage and some friction in leaving these financial houses and going to a self-directed at Schwab or Vanguard or Fidelity. There's friction. But if you don't understand price, it's going to be tough. But now, what I want you to do, take your statement, make sure you have the correct AI that's secure, upload the statement, ask it for what it costs you per year in fees. Or just ask it for the expense ratios of each fund, make a spreadsheet for you. It'll do it because that data is not in the statements. Can you believe that? Did you know? Now, it's kind of changing. In some 401ks, they require it. But if you just get a statement from financial house ABC, they don't tell you what the products cost. The most important indicator of performance in the future, the financial houses are omitting from you. Now, if that doesn't make you mad, I don't know what will. If you don't understand price, you won't have the gumption, a little bit of fire in your belly to walk away. So you got to know price. Just like when you go in that grocery store, a gallon of milk, you know what it cost. You should have that same conviction with your financial products. And then go back and say, well, all right, well, who does best? Low cost does best. All right, I got to leave. Because it's not easy. It is not easy to leave existing advisors because there's typically a relationship or the financial house. There's a comfort there. But once you understand price, if your favorite grocery store raised the price of milk to $20 a gallon compared to $1 a gallon, which that disparity of price is similar to what financial products can trade at because they're not transparent with price. So you're paying 20x and don't know it. I bet you'd stop shopping in that grocery store, wouldn't you? Even if the cashier was the nicest cashier, always asked about your dog. I bet you wouldn't go back. It's the same way with financial products. And the last thing, what I've seen, what does it take? You have to believe that it can be done. Believe it or not, some folks, they read the books, they've got humility and a willingness to walk away. They understand price. They don't believe they can do it. They don't believe they can do it because they've never done it. I get it. If you've never done something, it can sound difficult. And there's a fear of messing it up as long as I've got someone else with the keys to the car. And even if they wreck the car, your financial world, they wreck the car. At least they did it, not me. I don't have to take responsibility. I can blame and shame the other party. Go back to my circle of trust and say, it wasn't me. So you've got to believe it can be done. And if you've got all those things, you will be able to make the journey across the Red Sea into Canaan and into the low-cost land, into self-directed land, into long-term land, into simple land. Your results will be much, much better. And you can accomplish it without these things, but when all these things are present, boy, can you move fast and you can get things done. Sometimes this takes 3, 4, 5 years. Sometimes it takes 2 days. It's all that kindling. If all that kindling's there, ready to go, bam. It happens quick. And in the fascinating data I saw, a friend of the show sends this. This is Brennan Schlagbaum, is a CPA budget dog. I think he's famous in the X.com world. He says $20,000 invested in the S&P 500 from 1979 to 2022. If you stay invested the whole time, guess what it is? I'm not going to tell you. I want you to think about it. 1979 to 2022. It's about 40 years-ish, a little over. In the S&P 500, if you stayed invested, what do you think that $20,000 became? Bring the grandkids in. I want them to guess as well. $2.1 million. If you missed the best 5 days in that 40-year epic, you only were at $1.3 million. If you missed the best 10 days, you're only at $943,000. If you missed the best 20 days, $547,000. If you missed the best 30 days, that's only 30 days in a 40-year period, you're net at $341,000. And if you missed the best 60 days, you're at $100,000. Wow. Can you imagine that? So whenever an advisor or a wonk says, hey, we need to rotate to cash here, kind of wait this one out, a little choppy. We're going to let this Iran war thing kind of settle down. Let's let Netanyahu come out with a peace plan. Let's see what President Trump does before we actually allocate capital. Go back to the data. If you just miss 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 of these best days, your results are going to suffer tremendously. And who can tell? This is the other lie. Who knows? Who knows what the best days will be? The best days are usually, and you felt it in the last couple of days, they usually sneak up on you, don't they? Oh, maybe we've got a truce. Maybe Hormuz is open and we didn't know it. Market roars. What if you missed it? What if you're in cash? You missed the takeoff. Away, up, and away we go. Don't play that game. Don't sit in cash and wait. Man, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. And then I found this just fascinating. There's an analyst, JP Morgan, Ryan Brinkman. He recently advised folks to sell their Tesla stock. For my individual security purchasers that listen, thank you for coming. We're seeker friendly here. We want you to come back. We're glad you're here. But for the individual security selectors out there who are listening, this gentleman, Ryan Brinkman at JP Morgan, he says you should sell your Tesla stock. And it made the news. This actually made a couple news outlets who said, hey, this JP Morgan wonk says sell Tesla. Uh-oh. Issued the sell rating. Lower the flag to half mast, shoot off the lasers. Here it comes. You look back, you realize this gentleman has made 126 sell ratings dating back to 2017 or something. So back when the stock traded at a much lower price, he put a sell rating on it. Here we go. He's got terrible return average. So there's a breakdown on how effective this gentleman is at his success rate. Not good. It's not good. If you're now, believe it or not, some of these were right. He said to sell in late 2022. So he's got a 35% success rate, 24 out of 69 transactions. If you were to sell it, it worked out in a short time frame. Average return per transaction is negative 71%. So he's just got this sell. But what's tough is if you just read the headline, if you just read a CNBC headline that said JP Morgan analyst issues sell, you would think, oh, this is illuminating. This is fresh coffee. The news outlets don't always give you the context of this gentleman has just been throwing sell ratings like crazy. Eventually, the broken clock is right twice a day. It could be the case that Tesla goes, I don't know. I would have never bought Tesla. I would have never thought Tesla could be worth anything. That's why I invest in index funds, because I don't know how to pick stocks. Wish I did. Wouldn't be doing this podcast if I knew how to pick stocks. I'd be doing the Stock Pickers podcast. It'd be awesome. We'd be on an island somewhere. And I thought Mr. Maluk brought this to the fore. Peter Maluk, one of our favorites on the X.com platform. This is not data that's proprietary to him. It's the SPIVA report. I mention it frequently. It's the S&P Group puts together the SPIVA report. It's a comparison between active versus passive funds. So again, this week, it's maddening. I see CFPs and I see the results of what they put together for their clients. And wouldn't you know it, over half of the funds are high-priced funds. Over half, high-priced funds. And yet, 95% of these high-price active funds fail to beat the index over a 20-year period. That's all domestic funds. And you might say, well, what about these other ones? Well, how about large cap growth funds? 99.55% fail to beat the index. Large cap value, this is the best they can do. 87% failed to beat the index over 20 years. And all down the line, real estate, 91% failed. Mid cap core, 94% failed. It doesn't work. And so when I see the primary orientation strategy of these financial plans to high price funds, I wonder, what are they teaching? What's on the test? I can't think of anything more important than teaching that high price doesn't work. Not a peep. They don't do that. They say, maybe you can go active, maybe you can go passive, choose whichever one's right for you. How is that? I don't understand how you can say that with a 95% failure rate on all U.S. domestic funds. I do not get it. And in closing, another Peter Maluk. This is S&P 500 corrections over 5% since the March 2009 low. You'll remember the March 2009 low being the end of the credit crisis, the bank contagion crisis, mortgage-backed security crisis. So there are 26 of these, and it shows the number of days that these corrections were over 5%. And the reasons. And as I look back on the reasons, what I want to tell you, I won't read all of them. It's a lot, 26, but they don't make a lot of sense. So the first one, May 8th to 15th, down negative 5.5%. What was the reason? There were worries that the market got ahead of itself. This one, July 2009, July 11th to July 7th, down 9.1%. The World Bank growth forecast was bad, and the fears the market recovery is ahead of itself. That was a big one. What about this one? 2010, April 26th to July 1, down 17.1%. Europe's debt crisis, flash crash, and growth concerns. Check out this one. 2011, May 2nd to October 4th, down 21.6%. Europe's debt crisis, double-dip recession fears, U.S. debt downgrade. It's 2011. This is another big one. 2018, down 20.2% from September 21st of 2018 to December 26th of 2018. Again, down 20.2%. Rising rates, China slowdown, trade war, tariffs, and housing slowdown. Check out this one. 2022, down 27.5% from January 4th to October 13th. That's a long time. I think even the toughest amongst us would start to scratch our head and say, this is the big one. This is the one they always warned us about. We can never come back from. Down 27.5% inflation, rising rates, Fed tightening, Russia-Ukraine war, recession fears. So amidst it all, don't forget what matters, keeping your cost low, your investing simple, and your time horizon long, because that is what's going to give you the best shot on your investing journey. Until next week.